Hello students, today we'll discuss our worksheet 45, and as we have seen in a previous worksheet about the Mendeleev's periodic table, today we'll study about the achievements and the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. So as we know that at the time of Mendeleev only 63 elements were known, and according to Mendeleev the properties of the elements are the periodic function of their atomic masses. The table consists of vertical columns which are called as groups, and at the time of Mendeleev or in Mendeleev's periodic table only 8 groups were there, and the horizontal rows which are the periods and 6 periods were known. Now first of all we'll see what were the achievements of Mendeleev. The first achievement of Mendeleev is that he kept some spaces blank in his periodic table for the elements yet to be discovered, but he predicted the properties of those elements for which the spaces has been kept blank, and the predicted element was Eka boron and the actually discovered element was scandium. Eka aluminium and the later on discovered element was gallium, and the third was Eka silicon, for which germanium was the actual element discovered, and later on all these actually discovered element, to the surprise it was found that their properties were similar to the properties of the predicted elements. And also the second point, now as we have just said, he also predicted the properties of these elements before the discovery, and later on it has been found correct. For example, if we consider Eka aluminium, so atomic mass of Eka aluminium at that time, at the time of Mendeleev, was found 68, and when gallium was discovered its atomic mass was 69.7. that means near about this 68. The formula of the oxide was E2O3, and again the oxide gallium is Ga2O3. In the same way, formula of chloride is ECl3, and that of gallium has also been found as GaCl3. That means if we see the properties, they are also similar. And the third is that Mendeleev's periodic table could not accommodate noble gases when they were discovered without disturbing the existence. So these noble gases were not known at the time of Mendeleev, but later on they were discovered and kept in a separate group without disturbing the actual periodic table. And as we know that Mendeleev took the formula of oxides and hydrides and their formulae, which was found as the basic properties of the elements for the classification of periodic table. Now let us see what were the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. So the first limitation is that he could not assign the correct position of hydrogen, and as the property of hydrogen resembles with both the alkali metals as well as with the halogens. So like alkali metal, it combines with halogen, oxygen and sulfur. So if we see with halogens, the compounds of hydrogen form HCl. So it is similar to that of alkali metals, that is NaCl. Similarly with oxygen it forms H2O, and alkali metal like sodium, it is also forming Na2O, and with sulfur it is forming H2S. Similarly alkali metal sodium is also forming Na2S. So like halogens, it exists as a diatomic molecule. That means hydrogen exists as H2. Halogens are like chlorine, it is also existing as diatomic molecules and combines with metals and non-metals to form covalent compounds. For example, like hydrogen compounds with HCl, so it is forming this covalent bonds. This is with non-metals, and with metals also it compounds For example, like with sodium, it is forming sodium hydride. So this is the compound with metals. Sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. Now next, if we see the isotopes of the same elements which gives different positions if atomic number is taken as the basis, which will disturb the symmetry of the periodic table. For isotope, like if we consider carbon, if we take an example of carbon, so carbon atomic mass 6 and atomic mass 12 and atomic number 6. This is one isotope of carbon and the second isotope of carbon is C14. So that means atomic masses are different, but according to Menedeleev, we have arranged the elements in order of increasing atomic masses. So if we see the isotopes, that means they have to be given separate position, but the position of isotopes is not clear in the Mendeleev's periodic table, or if we keep these isotopes as a separate position, so they will disturb the symmetry of the periodic table. So the position of isotope was not clear in Mendeleev's periodic table. And if we see the third limitation, that is the atomic masses do not increase in a regular manner in going from one element to another, and so it is not possible to predict how many elements could be discovered between two elements. So these are the limitations and achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table. Now we'll see first question: who was known as the father of the periodic table? So who is known as the father of the periodic table? So as we are just saying that Menedeleev is the father of periodic table, and which important property did he use to classify the elements in his periodic table? That according to the Menedeleev, he used as the atomic mass and the chemical properties. On its basis, the Mendeleev's periodic table was given. So these are the two important properties, that is the atomic mass and the chemical properties. Second question: Mendeleev kept some spaces blank in the periodic table of the elements that were yet to be discovered. Name those elements and what were the name given to them. So as we have just seen, those elements were eka-boron, eka-aluminium and eka-silicon, and the new name given was to eka-boron scandium, eka-aluminium gallium and eka-silicon as germanium. So these are the names predicted to the elements discovered at that time. Now the third is what achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table. So as we have seen the three achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table, so these are that the Mendeleev kept some spaces blank in the periodic table. Second, he also predicted the properties of some of these elements even before their discovery, and later it was found correct. And the third was the Mendeleev's periodic table could not accommodate the noble gas, and the separate position was given to these noble gases without disturbing the original periodic table. The fourth question is what are the limitations of the Mendeleev's periodic table? So as we have just discovered the limitations, so what were the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table? First, it could not assign the position of hydrogen atom. Second, the isotopes of the same elements were given different position if atomic number is taken as the basis, that will disturb the symmetry of the periodic table. And the third is that the atomic mass do not increase in a regular manner in going from one element to another. So these are the three limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. Now fifth, Mendeleev could not assign the correct position of hydrogen in his periodic table. Why? So as we have just seen that the position of hydrogen is not been clear. Why? Because this characteristics of hydrogen is similar, or the properties of hydrogen resembles alkali metals as well as halogens. So as we are seeing here with uh, halogens, oxygen and sulfur, it is forming the compound same as it is forming with the alkali metals. So this is the first point, and with halogens it is forming the same, it exists as the same diatomic molecules like that of halogens. Or in other words, we can say that like hydrogen needs one electron to complete its octet. Similarly, these halogens, they also require one electron to complete its octet. So it can also be explained like this, that its shell can be completed by gaining one electron, and with alkali metals also it completes its octet by removing one electron. So hope students, this worksheet must be clear to you. It is simple worksheet, and just remember these three elements which were actually discovered, and the predicted element, the name of these elements, whereas the limitations, the achievements, all these are the important from exam point of view. And do complete it, and if you haven't subscribed my channel, do subscribe it, and thank you for watching this video.